Wondering how much a trip to Aruba really costs? We just spent a long weekend on this beautiful island during high season, and we tracked every single dollar we spent. In this video, I'll break down our real travel costs, from flights and hotels to food and activities, so you'll know exactly what to expect for your Aruba vacation. And because we traveled as a couple, I'll make sure to break down our costs on a per person and per couple basis. All right, let's get into the spending. First, let's talk about the cost of our flights. Now, we flew on Delta Airlines from Nashville to Atlanta to Aruba, and the same route on the way home. And we specifically booked this trip to Aruba because we came across a great flight deal for around $300 per person round trip. And we found this through Going, which we highly recommend, and we'll put our affiliate link down below in case you want to check them out. Now, we had to travel on specific dates due to my birthday and available PTO at work. So our costs ended up being $382.70 round trip per person, which is $765.40 for two. Now, of course, your flights will vary based on what airport you're flying from, but we think that if you find a round trip ticket between that $300 to $500 per person round trip mark, we think that's a pretty good deal and worth booking. And then next we have our transportation costs. Now, Aruba is generally considered a safe island to explore, and it's super easy to navigate. You drive on the right side of the road, just like in the US and Canada, and it only takes about an hour to drive from one end of the island to the other. So unless you're dead set at staying at your hotel for your entire trip, we think you'll really want the flexibility to be able to get out and explore. Now, Aruba offers a variety of local and international car rental brands across the island, but we would recommend renting from one of the car rental companies that's located at the international airport. They're literally located just steps outside of the arrivals hall. Now, we went with budget car rental, which is our usual go-to, and we rented a basic entry-level car. The rate was just under $50 a day, and the total cost for our 4-day rental was $189.03, and that breaks down to $94.52 per person. Overall, we found this to be a very affordable car rental, and we're really glad we had a car rental to explore the island with during our stay. All right, next let's talk about the cost of our accommodations in Aruba. Now, there are a wide range of hotels, resorts, and Airbnbs available in Aruba, ranging from mid and high-rise resort hotels to large rental homes perfect for groups, to smaller and more affordable Airbnbs that are well suited for couples or solo travelers. Now, for our trip, we were finding the resort hotels to be starting around that $600, $700, $800 a night mark, which is well outside of our budget. For our 3-night stay, we actually decided to split this into 2 nights at an affordable Airbnb and 1 night at an expensive hotel to do something fun and different for my birthday. First Airbnb we stayed at for 2 nights is called Privata Stays. Now, we were obsessed with this Airbnb, which is like a studio loft style accommodation that featured an outdoor kitchen, a plunge pool, and a separate indoor bedroom and bathroom area. And this Airbnb was perfect for a quiet couple or solo traveler, and the price was really great as well. For our dates, Privata Stays cost us $177 per night, so our 2-night stay with taxes and fees came to $388.50. Now, our second accommodation was the Renaissance Wind Creek Hotel, which is known for its famous Flamingo Beach on the Renaissance private island. And this was really pricey during our stay, which is exactly why we only booked 1 night here. Now, depending on when you visit, we've seen rates as low as about $300 a night, but we traveled in February, which was peak season, and our cost for the entry-level atrium view king room was $830.92 just for that 1 night, which was pretty in line with the pricing we saw for the resort hotels across the island. Now, this normally would be way out of our budget, but because the stay grants you access to the Flamingo Island, and because we offset that night with an affordable Airbnb, it kind of evened out in the end, and we felt that experience was well worth the cost. So adding it all up, the total cost for our 3 nights of accommodations on the island was $1,219.42, and that breaks down to $609.71 per person. And if you want to see more on these accommodations or our vacation experience in Aruba, I'll make sure to link all of those videos in a playlist below. And before we move on to the category of food and drink, we would really appreciate it if you took a moment to hit that subscribe button. We're a small channel and really appreciate every single subscriber. All right, next, food and drink. Now, because we stayed those 2 nights in an Airbnb that had a fridge, we did stock up on some snacks and drinks at the grocery store. We went to Superfoods and got a large bottle of water, pack of sparkling waters, a bag of chips, snack cheese, a 6-pack of beer, and a bottle of cheap wine, and a Dutch stroopwafel as a treat. Total cost for groceries was $42.52. Now for dining out at restaurants, we had a total of 2 breakfast/brunches and 3 dinners out. Now we had breakfast at the Dutch Pancake House located at the Renaissance Market, and we had a cafe latte and a super delicious frappe, as well as 2 enormous Dutch pancakes. And that cost us $51.64. Then we had brunch at the Aruba Experience Cafe, which is very aesthetic and a must visit. And here we had both a hot and an iced matcha latte, as well as 2 breakfast plates. And that cost $40.53. And then for dinners, we went one night to Cafe 080, which is a casual, more local restaurant. We had a beer, sangria, fish and chips, and wings, which cost us $45 even. And then we had a very nice meal at Pincho's, which was a really cool spot located on a pier over the water. And we kind of went all out here. We had an espresso and a chocolate martini, crab cake appetizer, hand-seared grouper, a sausage/chicken/pork tenderloin skewer, as well as creme brulee for dessert. And that cost us $140.12. Then our last meal was the Romantic Passions on the Beach restaurant. We had a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, sparkling water, the corvid fillet and scallops, as well as the daily special, which was a surf and turf lobster and steak dish. That cost came in at $139.50. Now on top of those meals, we also had 2 smoothie bowls as a snack from Eduardo's Beach Shack, located on Palm Beach. That came to $27.56. And we got a couple of to-go cocktails, as well as 2 hot dog baskets from Big Mama's Grill at Baby Beach. And that cost $47.40. When we visited the Renaissance Island, we spent $50 on a couple of cocktails. And of course, we had some travel food costs. We had some coffees and breakfast sandwiches at the airport and our hotel, which came to $51.88. And honestly, I think we had dinner on the way home at the Atlanta airport. I forgot to write down how much it was, but we all know that that was expensive, so I'm not going to include it in the total here. Bear in mind, you'll need to allocate some money in your budget for airport meals depending on your layovers. And the total cost that we spent on food was $636.15, or $318.08 per person. Now, if you want to see more from these restaurants, we will link our Aruba food guide below. All right, our final category is activities and miscellaneous. And we spent very little money here, even though we felt like we really got to see and do a lot on our vacation. So here are some of the free sightseeing activities we packed into our 4-day trip. We checked out the incredible views from the California Lighthouse, explored Cassibury Rocks, and climbed to the top with some doggy tour guides for an incredible view. We got up super early to witness the beautiful sunrise at the Alto Vista Chapel and wandered around St. Nicholas to see all of the art murals. And of course, it's free to visit beaches in Aruba, which are all public. We did some beach hopping, checking out the famous Eagle Beach and Palm Beach, as well as our 2 favorite beaches, Baby Beach and the lesser known local beach, Manguel Alto. We also attempted to go to Tres Tropez Beach and swim with sea turtles, but the ocean had other plans that day. Now, with all that beach hopping and sightseeing, the only cost we incurred was a $2 an hour public parking lot at the Holiday Inn Hotel in front of Palm Beach. We ended up not staying at that beach very long, so that cost us $4. We also brought our own beach blanket, which saved us from having to pay for chair rental, which this is the best Amazon beach blanket. I'll link it below for you guys. And like I mentioned earlier, we went to the Renaissance Island Flamingo Beach, but because we were guests of the hotel, the only cost outside of food and drink and the nightly hotel stay was we brought $5 in quarters to get flamingo food to feed the flamingos with. That puts our total for activities and miscellaneous costs to just $9. All right, that's it for the spending on our trip. I added it all up, and our total cost for our 3-night, 4-day trip was $2,819. And that comes out to $1,409.50 per person. So we're curious to hear in the comments what you think about our Aruba costs and how they compare to your own if you've been. And don't forget, we've got other Aruba videos, which we'll link below, as well as videos for other tropical destinations you may like, such as Curacao, St. Martin, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and more. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.